Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. My name is Jochebet Isaacs, and it's so nice to see you again. Welcome to the final part on the topic of imitation. At this point, we have covered a range of topics on imitation, from the importance of imitation to the progression of imitation, from naturalized imitation to object-cued, gross motor, fine motor, block imitation, before moving on to oral motor and finally verbal imitation. We hope these lessons have provided you with some guidance in helping your child build imitation. If you have been keeping up and teaching your child, well done. However, it is very normal to run into some hiccups when teaching imitation. So today's lesson, we're going to go over the 10 most common challenging scenarios we ourselves at EAP have come across when teaching imitation, and what we can do to overcome them. So for this lesson, we have divided the possible scenarios you might encounter into 3 main categories: checking your key strategies of ABA, prerequisite skills, and teaching methods. These are the 10 scenarios that could happen under each of these categories. Okay, let's get straight into it. Let's look into the key ABA strategies first. Pairing the skill with reinforcement is the first point. Some children even have very specific interests. Some enjoy cutting, some like letters and numbers, others may like bubbles. Ensuring the skill being taught is paired with reinforcement becomes the key to unlocking a child's success in other types of imitation and even other skills beyond. Another important point is to always ensure the strongest reinforcement is used, especially if this skill of imitation is very difficult for that child. For example, if a child only likes to drink fizzy drinks, then perhaps consider using that as their reward, with permission from their parents, of course, and assuming it's medically appropriate for them. Use that for when they do that imitation skill. Of course, give them a little bit at a time, so as to prevent them from getting too much energy after that. If you're unsure of what your child is motivated by, you can bring it back to the motivation assessment form. The third and final point on key ABA strategies is the repetition and practice of a skill. At EAP, children who are on a full-time program get about 6 to 7 times of practice in a day, with each practice of skills consisting of 4 to 6 trials. So imagine a child practicing imitation about 42 times a day. That's about 210 opportunities to practice. Always note that the skill your child practices multiple times will be strengthened, even when they are practicing an undesired skill. Another main area to look into is the prerequisite skills. For their learning of imitation, children will require the prerequisites of strengthening their gross motor, their fine motor skills before they can progressively learn other types of imitation. Additionally, if we refer back to the building blocks of learning, imitation stands at the same level as attention. This would mean that a child would require both skills in order to learn them effectively. Sometimes, in order to help them attend to us, we could imitate them first. For example, when they clap, we clap as well. Or when they dance, we dance with them. When this happens, your child will be better able to attend to you before imitation trials can be attempted successfully. The third area of common challenges is in the area of teaching methods. When teaching imitation, you might notice that even after applying all the ABA strategies accurately and all the prerequisite skills have been acquired, your child may still have some challenges. If this happens, consider adapting the prompting strategies used in teaching. For example, you may need to pair a visual for this or other relevant 3D objects may be beneficial for them. If the success rate is still inconsistent, consider the option of using video models to better illustrate the expectation for imitation. When challenges are still observed, perhaps look into changing the success criteria. For some children, they would probably be able to learn a skill in 2 hours, some in 2 days, some in 2 weeks, some in 2 months. If attention is observed, but the skill is not fully mastered, then your child may need a success criteria that is different than what is applied to other children. If this is the case, it is okay that no two children on the autism spectrum are the same. If you find yourself in a situation where you have exhausted all the areas above and are yet to see any consistent success at all with your child, we recommend consulting an ABA professional. You can always contact us at EAP as well. In some cases, the skills may need to be further simplified for learning to take place, or even be moved on. So you put this on hold, move on to another skill, as your child can also get frustrated if they keep learning the same thing again and again for a long period of time.
Pop quiz. Sandra practices imitating her mother clapping hands every day. Her mother runs the trials twice a day, with each practice having 3 trials. After teaching, Sandra usually enjoys her candy treats used as her reward. Her mother notices that Sandra is yet to consistently imitate this action. What are the areas of common challenge to look into to help Sandra be consistently successful? Repetition and practice, gross and fine motor prerequisites, use of video models, or pair with reinforcement? Spot on. A. It sounds like reinforcement is not an issue for Sandra, and she's able to somewhat copy the action, just not consistently. In this case, Sandra's mother should consider increasing the number of trials for the practices. Roger practices imitation at home with his father. His father noticed that Roger is able to attend to him and copy the action demonstrated. However, when the trials are complete and Roger is presented with his reward, he would get upset. In subsequent trials, before his father even begins demonstrating the action, Roger is already upset and would not even look at his father. What is the challenge observed here? No video models used, to amend success criteria, use strong reinforcement, or increase frequency of practice. It is the use of strong reinforcement that needs to be looked into for further assessment and amended for Roger to be motivated to learn.
ABA is complex, and what we have done in these videos have been so simplified to help hopefully everyone watching in their understanding of the content and to make the implementation a lot easier. No two children with autism are the same, and that means even if they do receive the same number of hours of therapy, some of them may take months to learn one action to imitate, while others may accelerate, take 2 weeks or even 2 days. And that's just for learning one skill. Think of how many actions there are to learn. For example, if a child has to learn 20 gross motor actions, 10 fine motor actions, 15 oral motor actions, how much time do they need for their skills acquisition? This is why intensive hours is crucial. Additionally, your child may require observation and recommendations by an ABA professional. This is to help ensure your child's skills progression and skills acquisition are on the right track. Imitation on its own is a huge topic, and it is impossible to cover everything down to the smallest details in these short videos. In general, we know that it is a progression. For example, babies don't just learn how to speak immediately. They start with natural imitation, for example, when they play with their parents before they learn to imitate mom and dad playing with toys such as musical instruments. This then progresses to doing simple gross motor movements such as clapping hands. Then they begin imitating fine motor actions before they proceed to imitating using blocks. Following this, they learn oral motor imitation before progressing to verbal imitation. This also shows that for any child to learn one skill, it is imperative to first identify the prerequisites required for learning to take place. And that's it. That brings us to the very end of our lesson series on imitation. We truly hope that all the lessons from the introduction to imitation, naturalized imitation, object cued, gross motor, fine motor, block imitation, oral motor imitation, as well as verbal imitation have been helpful to you. Go ahead and attempt to teach imitation to your child. Don't forget to have fun while you're at it. If you haven't already, do check out our free online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the corresponding articles and downloadables for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay updated. Autism at Home is brought to you by the Hope Project, which is the non-profit arm of Early Autism Project Malaysia. All the content development, our clinical expertise and time is completely borne by us at EAP. And the production of these videos so far are funded solely through donations and fundraising. So if you find these resources helpful and would like to contribute in some way, please do pledge a donation at autismmalaysia.com/The Hope Project. Thank you so much for watching this whole series, and we will see you soon.